Hello, Algebra 1. Today we will be looking at some application problems related to the content we have been working on, as well as reviewing for our upcoming test. So to start off, we're going to talk about Mrs. Schultz, one of our algebra teachers. She is throwing a tennis ball up into the air. The path can be modeled by this equation, where x represents time in seconds and y represents the height of the tennis ball in feet. What is the maximum height that the tennis ball reaches? Draw a sketch to help. All right, well, we've kind of got a clue here. We were told maximum. So we know that maximum is another term for a vertex. So we can go ahead and we can graph this using Desmos and then go ahead and try to find that vertex. So let's go ahead to Desmos. And we're going to type this in, y equals negative 16x squared plus 40x plus 5. We're going to have to zoom out a little bit or just scroll upwards. But we can see we have a vertex or maximum at 1.25 comma 30. Okay, so we can draw a picture of that. All right, so let's think about which one of those is representing our height. We're told that y represents the height and our y coordinate is 30, and so this is going to be 30 feet high. Way to go, Mrs. Schultz. All right, next we have Gary Gorilla. Gary Gorilla is 5 feet tall. He wants to walk into a cave that can be modeled by this equation. Taking this a step further, we want to see if Gary Gorilla is going to fit into the cave without bending down. All right, so we're not just asking for what his height is like we were in the last problem. We're actually asking to see if Gary Gorilla will fit. So let's type our equation in again. Oops, that's not right. So negative 2x squared plus 8x plus 1. And I'm going to come back down. All right, so if we take a look, this is the equation that models the cave. So how high up is the cave? Okay, so again, the height would be a y coordinate. So 9 feet is the height of the cave. And Gary Gorilla is only 5 feet. So yes, Gary will fit because he is shorter than the 9-foot high cave. All right, make sure you actually give that height of the cave so that we know what it is. All right, next, the shape of a dome can be modeled by this equation. Graph the equation, answer the questions below. We're looking for both the width and the height. Height we've already done for the last two questions, so that shouldn't be too difficult, but width is a little different. All right, so let's go ahead and... So this is a dome. Picture, some sort of dome that is on the ground. Now, our picture is going to continue into the negatives, but what I would like you to do is just pretend that we are stopping at the x-axis here. So for our height, we know we can go ahead, we can find our vertex, and our height will be 6.25, and it looks like this is in inches. But for our width, we're going to have to look at from x-intercept to x-intercept. All right, and you can count the spaces if you want, but you're going from -8 all the way to 2. All right, so from -8 to 0 is 8 units. And from 0 to 2 is 2 more units, and so that will be 10 units or 10 inches altogether. All right, let's try another one like that. The shape of a dome can be modeled by this equation, and we're again finding the width and the height. All right, so let's go ahead and type that in. This is a -1/6 this time. And we have an x plus 8. All right, so again, height is going to be our vertex. Make sure you round to the nearest hundredth. This will be a 2.67, and again, it's the y coordinate of the vertex because y is how high up you are. For width, we're going from 0 to -8, that is a total of 8 units, or in this case, 8 inches. All right, awesome. Now let's go ahead and let's review some of the other topics that you're going to see on your test in the upcoming days. All right, first, we're going to write an equation in intercept form given the graph. I'm going to put a y equals. We are going to assume an a value of 1 for this. And we do see that our parabola is upwards, so I'm just going to go straight to intercept form. You can put that positive 1 in front. And remember, if your intercept is at -5, our factored form, or what we have in intercept form, is an x plus 5. Okay, intercept at -2, this becomes an x plus 2. And that's it. That's all you have to do for intercept form, especially when you're given a graph. All right, now we're going to re-practice moving into vertex form, which uses completing the square. So we have one where an a value is 1. This is going to be a little faster. And we have the second one where we do have a 4 out in front. Remember, I like to move that number over first. And then we're taking our b value, divide it by 2, square it. That's what we're going to add on to both sides. 5 plus 16 is 21. On this side, we're going to factor, multiplies to 16, adds to 8. But again, it's always going to be this number. It's going to be 2 of those, 4 and 4. So this is x plus 4 squared. And your final step is subtracting that 21 back over. So x plus 4 squared minus 21. Don't forget your vertex. We are changing the sign and keeping the sign. And I mean, nothing stops you from typing it into Desmos and checking the vertex, but this is a faster way for sure. All right, let's try the next one. Still going to move over that constant first. So I'm subtracting that 9 over. And if you want to combine these two steps, you can. But what we're going to do next is we're going to take out the 4. Okay, we are factoring it out. And now your new b value is 4. So that's what we're going to divide by 2. And that 2 is what we're squaring. And that gives us a plus 4. Now, on the other side, be careful. We're not adding 4 because we have that other 4 in front. 4 times 4 is 16. That's what we're going to go ahead and add. Okay. -9 plus 16 is 7. On this side, we'll go ahead and factor. Multiplies to 4, adds to 4. Again, that's going to be this number up here, x plus 2 squared. And finally, subtract that 7 back over. Okay, and again, change the sign, keep the sign. And that's your vertex. Now, all of these you could have typed into your calculator to check the vertex, but now we're going to make it a little more difficult. We have these 3 equivalent forms. These are obviously things you cannot type into your calculator because we have some emojis, but we should still be able to identify the vertex, the y-intercept, and the zeros. So these are lined up nicely for you. Vertex form helps you find the vertex. Standard form helps you find the y-intercept, and intercept form helps you find the zeros. All right, so vertex we've been doing the last couple problems. Remember, change the sign. So it's going to be a positive heart. Keep the sign, a smiley face. All right, now what about the y-intercept? The y-intercept we know is always a 0, comma. So all we're going to do is plug a 0 in for x. But what that does is cancel everything that has an x with it. So all that's left is our sad guy. And finally, intercept form, just like we had over here, when you have an x plus 5 and an x plus 2, our intercepts or zeros are the opposites. So this is going to be a positive star, comma 0, and a positive check, comma 0. And that's it. All right, 2 more. Write an equation of a parabola in vertex form that would have a normal shape, opens down with a vertex of 8, -2. So this one, there's actually only one correct answer because normal means there's only one possible a value, and that is a 1. Opens down means it's a negative. Remember, vertex form has this squared here. Change the sign. keep the sign. And that's it. That's your equation. You could go ahead and graph this if you wanted to check the vertex and also to see if it is opening down. And finally, we're going to move the quadratic equation from vertex to standard form, and we're going to do that by foiling or if you use another method of multiplying. But what I would recommend first is to write out that x plus 6, and then we're doing x times x is x squared plus 6x plus 6x. 6 times 6 is 36. Remember, people want to add those for some reason, but you are multiplying. Bring down that minus 7, and then you do have like terms to combine. So our standard form is a y equals x squared plus 12x plus 29. All right, and there you go. That's your review for your upcoming test. I hope you have a great day. Bye.